Alrighty, hello, good afternoon, folks. Hope y'all are doing all right. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So I went ahead and renamed our renamed and sorted out the Gryphs from last time. We actually have 4 leftovers at this point because we simply do not have enough living commanders to go lead everybody. So that's kind of over here. All of these random soldiers are just going to be supporting from the guideline or sidelines. And technically speaking, we have Mr. Wienberg over here who could be a squad leader, but again, he's slightly dead. So is Nash. Anyway, that's a minor inconvenience to their end there. So everybody else was given a squad. We can get a bit more picky about who leads a squad later, but for the time being, we've just kind of got who we've got. Additionally, we should be getting a few extra characters coming up pretty soonish here, so we'll be able to start picking out some other leaders at that point. Once we switch sides and get Asnabel and whatever. Alright, so let's see. I'm thinking border might be a little bit easier because they're mostly just going to be running away. So we'll go ahead and head down there first. And yeah, if anybody's got any hidden tidbits that I might be missing or whatever else, please feel free just to kind of throw them out if you want to see some random objective attempted. I don't know 99% of the hidden stuff in this game, so there's that. That's some good coffee. Okay. Alright, so we get our briefing first of all. Here is the plan. There is some dude with ridiculously fancy hair that is sitting here guarding a town. You should go stab some refugees. Okay, sir. So they're guarding that thing. Destination is that way. We need to go take that fort. There's some dude making people leave. It's almost like they're kind of emigrating our people. Alright. Do this thing, and if at any point it seems like chat's not showing up, hopefully that'll be fixable. I don't know. Last time we had issues with this format for whatever reason, so that'll be that. Now, despite what he said, we actually will not be doing a large chunk of that, and actually we're going to be seeing how these units are going to even perform right from the get-go. Thing is, when it comes to the Gryphons, this is a unit that's essentially been super inconsistent from the very start of the series to the very end. They went from more or less being a way for your people to fly to here they can't seem to be able to fly to at some points, there's a limit to how many you can deploy. In other cases, they're literally just a medical support unit. They're easily one of the most inconsistent units from start to finish. So we'll go ahead and see how they even perform here. I don't know if they're going to be any good whatsoever. I made a few different variants of a few different approaches here. Most of them are going to be the standard, just 2 of them in front with a commander in back. I made a couple that also were kind of a range support kind of thing. I actually thought I made more than 1. Okay, but either way, we're going to see how they perform. I'm going to assume that they probably will be at least half decent. Anyway, so we're going to send Dio over this way. The issue is we want to be able to protect that neutral town over there. They will eventually take it if we don't do something about that. Now, this is something that I haven't ever been able to pull off successfully, but whatever, we're going to give it a shot. So we're going to go ahead and just have him circle around the side there. We're going to have Anita here go and attempt to storm this bridge. She's actually... Do we want that? Nah, I think we want to go for location. Alright. So let's just go ahead and take the bridge for the time being. Leia's squad... I can probably just go here as well. I recall this first bridge being a little bit of a thing. So we'll see what we run into. I'd imagine they're still running pretty shitty squads, so either way, we spread out a little bit. We just want them to retreat as much as possible. That one's going to chase, and we're going to some degree anyway, leave behind Magnus as much as possible. He's mostly going to be on babysitting duty. We're going to swap him out every now and then so he's not completely left behind. But mostly I just want to make sure that that he at least gets a chance to get some of his better upgrades down the line. Just because I really don't know what we're going to run into. Actually, you know what? Forget it. This whole squad, why don't you just go ahead and just kind of make a little barrier here. Don't even bother attacking her. Because if they attack her, she'll definitely just go take the neutral town. So we'll just wait for them to retreat for the time being. Maybe we'll be able to get eyes on them. We'll see. If we can get Dio a little bit closer, just to get some idea of where they're at. I just want to do a little bit of scouting here. So, just so you know, at any point you can easily drop your reputation, but gaining it back up in this game is just a complete just no-go, at least unless there's some trick that I'm not aware of. But basically getting your reputation back is a bit of a tall order in this game. So I'd like to preserve it as much as possible, which means saving neutral towns as much as possible. Alright, so we know right off the bat that these guys are not doing anything terribly impressive here. I think hit and runs are probably going to be our main go-to strategy here. For all intents and purposes, we're giving up 4 slots for the purpose of having 2 basic soldiers. Alright, hi there, Kisk. Nice to see you here. Let's see, is this Zenobian border? One town on this map is bugged and will always be captured, regardless of who you send. Some decisions affect your freaking Chaos Frame. Yep. Yeah, I know about the Chaos Frame thing. That's what I'm trying to hopefully avoid. Right now, what I'm trying to do is it actually bugged, or is it intended that this will just kind of teach you that they'll capture neutral towns? Because basically, if you engage this unit, no matter what you do, they will instantly capture that town. But if I recall correctly, if you wait long enough to the point that they start pulling back their front line, they basically will pull everybody back, including just walking right past that town, no? So you like saying, instead of, I can't do it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know that part. Like, I know, if we do ... we should be able to see Dio as a boss, no? Like, I'm absolutely willing to, like, take the moral high ground when it comes to not destroying cities, but then absolutely take the moral low ground in every single conversation just to see what happens. Anyway. Let's see, let's get Anita over here onto town pillaging duty, or at least... Let's go ahead and push them forward a little bit here. They're not going to take the town just yet, but they are going to attempt to take this canyon a little bit. Idea primarily being that we want to give them a chance to just retreat. So if we can avoid getting some kills here, then, you know, we'll do that. Secondarily, we'll go ahead and move you over here to do a little bit of scouting. And as a bit of a reminder, we can't have any flying squads until we get Hawkmen leaders, just so you know. Alright. By the way, the reason that I'm also leaving 2 up here is because I recall them having reinforcements up here, so in case they're feeling aggressive, I'd like to leave part of the party behind there. Anyway, we'll go ahead and send one more here to lead the charge into this town. I love the way that the strategy feels in this game. Alright, yeah, you just go ahead and watch that area. I'll see if we can take out some leaders. So yes, because you chose to fight him, and if you didn't choose to fight him, he'd stay. The ... cuts you off from all the Zenobian joins, though. I mean... Is that a bad thing? Because doesn't that get us access to the Hawkman commander? I forget his name. Let's see, well, no Zenobians is no problem in a run with all Gryphons. Yeah, exactly. We don't need any frickin' Zenobians. What are we going to do with a Zenobian? I mean, like, what are they going to do? Bring fancy swords to the table? Get deposed for the 3rd time this week? Like, what do we need them for? Alright. Hello there, Gotham. Alright. So we need Wizardman to probably... Do we want to push him? You know what? Okay, maybe we do push for the town. We'll just go ahead and push everybody in. Wizardman's probably going to have to retreat, but the other 2 should be able to take this town. Nita's going to go ahead and take the town over here. Again, I can't reiterate enough the fact that actually scouting and watching your back is important in this one. Like, there's a lot of aspects that the Ogre series kind of learned from... Not learned necessarily, but added in from a lot of other kind of like war game type deals over the years. Like, just, you know, importance of scouting, watching your back, you know, bringing in logistics and what have you. In just, like, little subtle ways here and there. Just a lot of stuff that you typically would associate with something like an XCOM or, like, a close combat or something like that. Man, I haven't played Close Combat in forever. I'm not even sure if I'm remembering that right, but either way. So you've been binge-watching Reborn content? Well, I'm glad to help in that regard. It's a dang fun game to play. We're trying to get more of that stuff out on a regular basis. I don't expect these little stream openings to last terribly long, but you know, it's for now it's technically something that can happen. Charlie Sheen, there you go. That's the bird guy. So he gets access to the Black Knight from Lotus. Yeah, that guy would like to have that guy. Karth, right. Let's see, Sheen, you just need low Chaos Frame. Well, I do like the idea of intentionally trying to take cities in the proper manner and then going out of our way to just be an absolute asshole in dialogue. That's what I want to go for in this case. Let's see, looking forward to more of the Nothing Burger content, and Know Your Unit Lich. We'll get to the Lich soon. I plan to restart Nothing Burger. I already mentioned why before. Let's see. Not to mention, Nothing Burger becomes a... Come to think of it, maybe we should... I don't know if Alistair is in here today. I wonder if we should wait for Nothing Burger when he actually finishes that mod that just takes out cards entirely. I mean, I guess technically... no. It actively becomes worse with that in mind, now that I think about it. Let's see, getting Sheen and Leedle is difficult because Sheen needs a low cast frame, but Leedle needs a high one, and their maps are close to one another. It's possible, but really tricky. Well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so whatever happens, happens. Okay, they're already set for attack leader. Alright, just like their namesakes, they're all about decapitation. Also, it is about time to frickin' run, because if any of our commanders die, there's very little we can do about it. Are we almost out of turns? Okay, we'll just let them finish attacking, and then they're just going to retreat. By the way, do you know how badly we're penalized for retreating in this one? Because I don't remember how the numbers line up on that at all. I'm thinking... Do we have Bean Rest? I don't think we have Bean Rest. We're going to... eventually see some sort of attack coming from the side there from all of the units that got scattered from this town. I think for now we're okay. See, some of the enemy unit designs in this game are legitimately stronger if you hit them from behind. The difficulty in this game is weird. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun of it. It's just absolute chaos. I mean, I've always said that the Ogre series is just a lot more fun when it's embracing the chaos. Oh, you dick. Well, there goes one of our birds. Whatever, just keep going at it at this point, I guess. Really bad time for a crit. I was hoping that they would just survive it with one more hit there. And I have a feeling we're gonna be seeing that loss screen quite a bit over the course of this run. Alright, Anita, do we have any towns? Okay, where's Kari at? Of course. Okay, so, tell you what, you go hang out over here. Why don't you go ahead and get replaced by Mr. Whistler over here. And you go ahead and head down to this town. Let's kind of leave everything a little bit open here. We're going to leave Magnus guarding our fortress, just to make sure that they don't get any ideas. Let's see, retreating doesn't penalize you on Chaos Frame. Burbs can't turn into zombies so you can revive easily. Yeah, I know. I'm just worried about them getting stuck behind the curb. Like, that was our issue with the ferry run. Let's see, can't you resurrect your character as long as the character isn't undead? Yeah, and only humanoids can become zombies. Funnily enough, by the way, if you convert any of the named characters into for example, a fairy or a griffin or what have you, they're counted dead for the purpose of the story, but if you convert them back, they actually will turn right back to human. We ran into some really weird shenanigans during the fairy run for that reason. Where, like, for the purposes of some things, they were dead, for the purposes of others, they weren't. It's just, yeah, it was a weird time. Okay. Mr. Bean, you can't possibly win that fight. Why don't you go ahead and head back? Let's see. I don't think we have to worry about too many tricks about them using the mountains, but we'll go ahead and move you up here just to be safe. I feel like defensively we're doing all right here. They're just going to be running away in this situation anyway. There we go, take that guy out. retreat at the earliest opportunity here. Which, unfortunately, is not going to be soon enough because that dragon's about to eat him. Yep. For those that didn't know, there's a limit on how quickly you can retreat in this game. So the bar at the very top has 3 different states. The first one is just letting you pick your standard battle commands. Second one is to allow you to retreat, since... Oh no, she got taken from the back. The second one it allows you to retreat because there was a lot of hit-and-run shenanigans that you could do back in March of the Black Queen, and in many cases it was just kind of optimal to run up and like hit and run in every situation if you had fast enough units. You could basically like run in with a witch, paralyze everything, do several AoEs, and then run away before you took any damage. Alright, that squad I'm kind of okay with. That's pretty solid. Now, whether or not that's better or worse is up to you. It feels like they were going for more of a grounded feel in this one, so, you know, count that as you will. Alright, now I'm rooting for Anita here to survive this war. And there goes that cleric. That cleric is absolutely going to go take that town, isn't she? How about you don't? How about you don't? How about you don't? Don't. Found some plate armor, though. That's nice. Please don't. You suck, cleric. Good news, Anita. You've just been authorized for murder. You can go get your Gryphons back. Which actually means that we can pull back Mr. Bean here and go ahead and get him in on that action, too. So tell you what, you're going to be a late addition to the Stronghold. We're going to have Dio and Magnus go ahead and charge their way on through. Given that it's a bridge, it's going to give us a pretty solid opening that we'll probably be able to just push through without worry about reprisal. Probably by the time that they do push through, we'll go ahead and have Anita here back up on her feet. These guys are going to go take this area over here. We're just going to leave the Warlock in the mountains. I'm thinking we just go for good boy clears here and probably don't go for absolute kill-all type situations. Cheyenne, though, is going to rest up in these mountains. We're going to go ahead and have Leia start setting up camp over here alongside Mr. Whistler, I think, so that he gets a little bit more action here. And like I mentioned, I set these parties up with a few different kind of formations here, just to see how well they all perform. So far, I'm not seeing any benefit of using wind shot versus their basic attacks. If there is one, we'll find it. But yeah, we're just gonna see what we do here. Let's see, she'll take it. That's an annoying birthday item. Yep. Let's see, the charge horn will let you use retreat or penders immediately. Yes. We were abusing the absolute hell out of that back during the ferry run. So I want to try not to use the birthday items this time. Because I say in many cases, but like, it frickin' sucked getting those birthday items. Alright, anyway, we got them pushed back. By the way, yes, I did downgrade Dio's sword. I figure after he tried to kill us with it, he doesn't get to have the good weapons from now on. And clearly, since we're about to answer with some ... it's obviously time to go tell him to go be a boss, just because I want to see that happen. I've never done it before. As I said, doing our best in combat, absolute assholes in dialogue. That's what we're doing this. 1 XP? Exactly. Windshot requires more vitality to do damage. The physical attack requires... Wait, what? Windshot is based off vitality? I mean, granted, that's actually kind of awesome. I just never would have expected that. You really don't see defensive stats used for offense often enough, I think. Actually, that reminds me of a really funny thing I saw in Felseal just yesterday, where I was going through some random maps and whatnot, and the AI comes in with a Razor Wind, like, near max defense unit using a shield bash. So he's basically using his defensive stats to attack defensively with his shield, and using Razor Wind, which is a samurai ability, to go attack at range. While I think he got I want to say versatility allowed for crits on that as well. So it was just this really wacky build where this guy was shield bashing from across a wall. It was just weird, you know? I liked it. Alright. Might as well just go for general damage here. Whenever fighting a cleric like this, if you don't have very many offensive options, it's generally a good idea to just split up your damage as much as possible so that they can only heal in one direction, at least for now. Once they get up to monks and such, we're going to have a problem. Or not monk. I forget if they're called monks or something in this one. Yeah, we're only winning that one on technicality. I'm happy with Magnus's setup, though. I do like that he can be a cleric. There we go. Or June, I should say. All the back attacks from Beasts and Dragons require Vitality. I might be wrong about Windshot, though, but one of the Dragon backs, they get boosted by Vitality. Okay, well, that's interesting information. I had no idea. I never thought that they would ever use Vitality for that, though it does make sense, because, again, wings, they're beating their wings to hit stuff with the wind. You know, their Vitality for staying up in the air kind of matters. Also, I just noticed, their wings are slightly clipped off at the edges whenever they're like that. It kind of looks like they fold their feathers in a little bit, but it kind of looks like they adjusted it at the last second. It looks a little unnatural, and I wonder if maybe they had hit some kind of size limit or something. All right, we're gonna have him take a nap. I'm thinking we have Leia and what's her face. Go ahead and start off on this one. I'm aware that Berserker guy probably isn't in rough enough shape to see any significant stat penalties yet, but, like, I always end up forgetting, so I might as well be safe. Lady, what the hell is your team? This is... You know what? This lady isn't even one of the local commanders for the Resistance here. This is literally just a frickin' Team Rocket grunt. Just shows up with her 2 Zubats. You never play Ogre Battle? Why not? It's pretty darn fun. It's amusing or whatever. And I'm about to probably go re-review the PS Vita version of the N64 emulator for the upteenth time, just to see how well it's improved. It's a very oddly specific thing to keep revisiting. Using fairies for any early evolves? Wait, what? Is that a thing you can do? Like, I know fairies can... fairies level you up, but I always thought it was just an in-battle effect. Can you actually cheese that? That's actually pretty awesome if you can. Yeah, I kind of want to employ that if that's a thing. Again, I had no idea you could do that. Actually, it might explain a few things. Maybe. I don't know. How does that work? Alright, so we captured Anita. Tell you what, why don't you go ahead and do that thing where you get your people back to life. At least the plus side of a beast run is that we don't have to worry about going back to the witch den to get people back up to life all the time. Yes, 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 yes. Because, yeah, if we had to listen to this dialogue every 3 seconds like we did for the fairy run, that'd be something else. Thank you, Fast Forward. You are greatly appreciated. Alright. You want to tell me what people are up to in this town? Explore, witch. With your crazy-looking arms. Let's see, Zenobi to the south, Lotus to the west. When the war begins, Palatinus will be awash in chaos. This land will not be safe, but we will come back and see somebody getting mugged, and I think we get, like, a cross-dressing stick for that. Right, you get the gender change cross from them? So I'll just go ahead and wake this guy up from his nap to let him know the fight's already over. Let's see. Alright. These guys should be well enough. I think we might want to go finish off this Warlock. It's like Dio's going to rest for a little bit. He's going to end up taking a nap one way or another. I think we might as well go let that guy get finished off so that we can throw everybody over at Debonair. Because basically, he'll keep retreating all of his people out of here, but we won't be able to do very much with that Warlock waiting to attack. Alright, you go that way. Anita, why don't you also... Actually, you just go ahead and hold off for the time being. See, don't forget it only gives them 1 HP. Oh, hold on, wait. Early evolves anything that evolves in battle by about 1 level per fairy on team. Okay, so it isn't just an in-battle effect, it actually just officially levels them up for the purpose of getting their stuff up. Interesting. I never knew that, but it definitely gives fairies a whole new level of utility I've never considered. I mean, I don't see why not. Just for the purpose of showing off that trick, that seems like it'd be pretty cool to do. I think I'd be willing to bend that rule a little bit, and I'm pretty sure Vale wouldn't object either. They were the one that came up with the rule set for this one. Alright, let's see. For Ogre battle games over Tactics Ogre, love both, but Obi just edges it out a bit more. I like them all, it depends on the mood. Like, sometimes I'm just in a mood for something like this, sometimes I want to be a bit more active about it. It's just kind of nice to see a series that just kind of runs the gamut of weirdness. Let's see, power-up boosts all your core stats. Yep. Let's see, first game of the Ogre series, or Ogre Saga is Tactics Ogre Knight of Lotus, which makes it hard for me to get used to the mechanics of Ogre battle. I mean, you see enough similarities eventually. Like, it sort of starts to click. Man. Our 2 Gryphons can't beat their 1 dragon at, like, minimum possible level. That's a fantastic sign. Alright, Bean, you are taking over defense of that town. We're sending out Anita a little bit early just because we need a little bit more support in taking this place. Yeah, this area is probably totally fine. Just in case we can maybe get away with this a little bit sooner, let's see if we can maybe rush these guys in to go take out Debonair. I highly doubt that they'll succeed, but, you know, it's worth a shot. Go and see how this plays out. Let's see, evolve most dragons that way, typically fair. See, if they get hit by a power-up, they'll have qualifying stats for evolution about 1 level early per buff. Okay. So you get the Ansei Cross from that guy. Okay. Reviving only gives 1 HP, that is. Oh, yeah, I know. They probably had enough time to recover at least a little bit by now. So enough for a Pinnakai? Yeah, I mean, granted, who the hell uses Gryphons in this game? If it has wings, is Burb? This is true. Seeing their natural evolution is their general strength, typically around 11-13, so fairies don't help much there. I don't know. I have no idea. It's worth a shot just because it's interesting. At least on the plus side here, the way that we have Mr. Dude Guy set up here, at least allows for kind of an infinite party in a sense. I mean, I'm sure this will end up having some issues down the line, but for now it's good. Does anybody know by any chance if when it comes to the heal from the Blessed Sword that, like, maybe there's a way to turn it into an AoE? Like, does he eventually switch it into an AoE, or is he just strictly limited to a single target heal? Because I'm wondering if we might have a few more options down the road. See, mostly they're more useful for later evolutions, like getting a Master Dragon 2 or 3 levels earlier. Okay. Well, we'll see. There's a pretty decent chance that even knowing the trick, I might just immediately forget about it by the time we get there. And also, fairies, like, it'll come down to actually remembering where to find a fairy, because they take quite a while. I always love the animation from Magnus, by the way. Whenever he gets hit, he just sort of forgets that gravity exists, and the sword sits on his shoulder a minute. He's just like, ow, I can't possibly believe in gravity right now. Physics, might as well suck it. As he walks away with his jittery sword here. He was the original Raiden here, just showing up with his friggin' vibro blade. Vibrates 1,000,000 times a minute. So you belong to the Thunder Sponge. Dang right. Alright. Anyway, he's gonna sit up front and get himself all taken out, all hopefully easy-like. Thankfully, because he is intending to let himself get taken out, at least all of our attacks can directly hit him. I don't think we'll have enough offense in this team to actually be a legitimate threat to him, but, you know, we'll see. See. He's taking it easy on us, and we're going to take it easy on him. Just kind of, going to see how we can do here. Actually, this is looking alright. I'm thinking if we can retreat now, that'd be perfect. Actually, we're going to go ahead and leave anyway. Yep, that was intentional. It wasn't a loss. We were about to leave anyway. Exactly. Alright. So no heal plus whenever he gets his new class. Okay. So on the single target, if I remember right, he doesn't get any advanced magic. So, I mean, mostly I was wondering for the purpose of like if there's any other additional stuff. I don't know if the weapon property changes at any point. So like, for example, if you have a basic spell on, let's say, a Dark Knight or something, like if by some means it ends up transforming into something else down the road, or if it's always just Fireball or what have you. I would assume it always stays the same, but I don't know. I figure it's worth asking. I got all your Gryphs? Dang right we did. It took a little bit of a hot minute, but we finally got them all. We're finally making some progress. We're only like 4+ hours in, and we're ready to actually go and clear through the intro. It's great. We can actually see some progress. Alright, I doubt we're going to see much progress on taking out this leader here. One of the downsides, and actually something that's going to be interesting to consider down the line, especially when it comes to legions and such, we have a really hard time targeting leaders. Since they have to be 2 spots apart and they don't really have an AoE at this point, like, they're in a really awkward spot when it comes to actually targeting leaders of any kind. See, Demonair is one of the few characters in this. Just disappointing he can't change his sword, which while strong is physical only. Elemental weapons are better. At least it's cool looking. Okay, there's definitely nothing okay about hitting these guys right now. These aren't soldiers, this is an elementary school. Come to think of it, are they supposed to have Magic Missile yet? I thought that was only Tier 2 fairies. God, that's depressing. Dio and his 2 Gryphons got into a freaking draw with a fairy and a bunch of basic nobody soldiers. That's great. See, I came in late. If you're asking if spells were dependent on the element of the weapon, it is. Oh no, I know that part. I was saying if there was any way to enhance their effect. Like, I was looking at this crappy formation here and was thinking, technically, this thing might have a bit more staying power if he had access to Heal Plus somehow. I mean, it seemed like it would definitely be a no, but, we've got a weird setup going on here. It sounds like the general consensus is that, no, you're stuck with what you got, which is fine. They still give you a new option to exploit. But it does mean that essentially, in order to get any kind of support going, we're probably going to want elemental weapons on most of our peoples. Anyway, we'll get to it. Oh, I know it's based on their positioning, but, like, I was meaning in terms of, like, if you give a certain weapon to a specific class, they just get better all of a sudden or something. Or upgraded in some way, which I don't recall there being an upgrade system, but then again, there's a lot that I don't know about this game, so... Probably, let's see, one more round of attacks. There we go, that'll do. So her squad needs to go heal up. So they can't take any more. Can go send the other guy in at this point. Really, one of the only things that I kind of have as a bit of a downside for this game is there was a very solid feature that March of the Black Queen had put in, where essentially as soon as an encounter starts, you can pause and then put out other commands at that same time, because there's usually a lot of stuff going through your head at that moment. But, like, here's a bunch of different options that I could be pursuing right now. And instead, in this case, you have to wait till the fight's done, which is annoying, but eh. Do you need my skills? Okay, yes. Go get this one back. Yeah, I was going through the list of names for the Gryphon Insurrection series, and funnily enough, we have this just like meditation playlist that my daughter likes to listen to when taking a nap. And as I'm looking through the names, it starts playing Desert Rose, and I notice that's one of the names on the list. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Just gonna go ahead and go for that. I think technically the song goes by a different name. But it's some kind of weird hippie music that's really, really good for falling asleep to. Anyway. Okay. Are we going to run into the same issue where, you know, 2 Gryphons and a witch are getting completely outclassed by this freaking thing here? Well, they got a crit. Actually, I wonder if crits are going to be our main go-to then. So, is there a way to affect crit rate in this game? Does anyone know? Like, I remember there being a luck item. I know with a Sleipnir we might be able to get into some better positions, adjust which angle we're attacking from and such. I don't know. There we go. We might actually see another leader going down here. One thing that I'm thinking that we do want to get a hold of, we should be able to get the Elemental Pendras a bit early if we do multiple training fights, right? I don't know how we'd potentially win that outside of Magnus's squad. So if we can boost Magnus's squad somehow, use their whole, you know, holdout situation there, I'm thinking he's the only one that's realistically got a chance to go get that that Pendra approach. I forget if we have to be in a particular town or not. Debonair, if you could not suddenly become the parry god from yesterday's stream, that'd be fantastic. Okay. Somehow that man just survived being bisected by a claymore, but... Alright. You go ahead and retreat, because you cannot take any more punishment. Take your friggin' 1 experience at a time. I have a feeling, since we're saving a lot of money on class changes, we're probably going to have to spend all of our entire budget on training. Dio, if you can go ahead and stop taking a nap and go chase after that guy, you are needed. At the very least, go guard this town against a bunch of random children trying to find a home. You terrible monster. Alright, let's see. Are you going to let the Gryphons evolve or boot them for regular Gryphs when they do? Oh, they're going to get a chance to evolve, and we're allowed to use Spkinxes too for the purpose of this one. The idea of the challenge was basically to use pretty much anything with wings. It's a thematic run, and we're just dealing with the weird nonsense that comes as a result. So whatever we run into, you know. Whatever we can adapt to, we adapt. Hang on, what was that? Let's see, I wasn't remembering Magnus getting advanced spells in his later classes. Wait, what? Spells from Magnus, Dio, and Leia are based on what chapter of the game you're in. Magnus will eventually get multi-target magic in the final chapter. Gets an elemental shot skill. Interesting. So, if we leave him with his healing sword, then, will he get a heal plus? I don't recall that ever happening, but that'd be really cool if it did. I mean, that being said, the reason that I asked in the first place is because this definitely seems like the kind of game that would do it. Like, it seems like OB64 is all about the kind of options you wouldn't expect out of nowhere like that. Alright, I'm thinking those 2 Valks might be able to win this fight for us. Everybody else is just kind of licking their wounds for the moment, because they can barely win a fight on their own. And yeah, we're definitely going to let them evolve. Basic Gryphs, like, we're going to say Gryphons is just shorthand for basically anything with wings. The thematic idea is just, Gryphons are allowed, Opinikai are allowed, again, due to the series that, the book series that this particular run is being based on, and we just lost another one, fantastic. At this point, in for a penny, in for a million casualties, I guess. Anyway. So the idea here is that they're allowed, Spkinxes are allowed, Hawkmen are allowed. Just like, the wings are the idea here. And then any commander units are allowed, technically speaking. I mean, last time we even had Liches leading squads. Originally, I was going to be a bit more picky about who gets to be what, but, like, realistically, we're kind of limited in terms of how many commanders we can get, so whatever we get, you know? Let's see, then... Wait, and then you lose it in the final chapter? What? What the hell? I don't remember that happening. So you have to train with Magnus to get them anyway, and yes, particular towns, light and dark, are done with special town enters. You need a hell hunt for that. Yeah, I remember you have to go sell them a hell pug. Hang on just a moment. Alrighty, and back to it. Sorry about that. Random phone calls happen. Also, it's funny that he's Debonair of the Wind, and now that you mention the whole non-elemental weapon thing, I always thought his weapon was a wind element. Alright. So, Magnus is going to go ahead and have a bit of a hissy fit, as he does. Like, me and my giant hands don't want you and your giant hands to leave. As you do. Also, it's funny that Gilbert and Canopus are friends that don't want to kill each other, and yet they always constantly end up traveling to opposite locations. Although, it's funny because I think Gilbert actually moves back. Now that I think about it, in Tactics Ogre PSP and Lucked, isn't one of the, like, doesn't Gilbert actually show up talking with Tristan in one of the final scenes? So does he just, like, immediately leave after this? Let's see, so Hackermans and Angels are gold? Yes. Yes, they are. Alright. Everyone's going and doing their thing, being all rebellious and whatever. And yeah, Magnus's interpretation here always seemed a little bit funny. It's like his whole takeaway from Lotus is making everybody fight everybody is like, I see your intentions, you're making chaos happen. You talk good, so people are going to kill for you, so you gotta die. Alright. I get what they're going for. It's probably a translation thing. And he won't let anybody go attack Lotus or whatever. I mean, you kind of expect that'll happen at some point, to be fair. But that's alright. Magnus will figure out how stuff works later. For now, he's a little bit confused. You almost never have Magnus use magic. But it's in his name! With one extra letter, but that's, you know, details. Also, why exactly does Ceradan have, like, butt donuts? I usually don't play this on a big screen, so there's a lot of details that I'm just noticing that don't ever come up. Okay, so what are we looking at for casualties? Let's see, unit commands. Let's go ahead and remove a couple of you. Well, actually, I guess we can send you immediately to go get those revived, so they're going to be fine for the moment. We don't have any other commanders to go lead anybody. We're not training any new soldiers for the time being, so that's going to have to be that. Alright. A couple of other things. With Dio here, if we can go ahead and give him something. We just have a Balder. Well, we'll give him his... Nah, do we want to give him his Balder back? I think we still punish him with a short sword there. It's just... He just deserves to have the crappier armor. There's just no two ways about that. Okay. What about our other leaders here? What about you? You just got a spear in your Balder spear. You got plate and not plate. They're exactly the same thing. What about these? Anything you can upgrade here? You can get slightly better with your pointy hat. Okay. What about class changes? Anybody open for some of those? Probably not, I would imagine. Alright, leave the organized screen. Now, let's see how they perform in training. So, okay, as far as getting the... What was it, like the wind or the water or something like that, Pendra? I mean, granted, we can't even use one, and for that matter... I'm not sure if we'll ever actually be able to use the Pendras, because we don't get 3 attacks. So... I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that exactly. Whatever, we'll figure that out. Anyway, let's go see how some of these function in training. 150 for training, yeah, that's a good sign. We've sent you a warlock, his toy, and a bunch of children. If you can survive this, congratulations. We'll take you seriously. We've sent the kindergarten karate class. If you and your monsters can survive it, then then we'll care. It'll be 150 bucks though. This crap ain't free. Not doing this for charity though, so you need to pay in advance. He literally says it. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Alright, so training, for those unfamiliar, basically they just attack back and forth until somebody dies. Now, this is why I'm hoping that this whole thing with Magnus will work out reasonably well. Hopefully we can maybe over-level him or something, just because, well, Blessing Swords seem to be our main source of sustenance here. If we end up making some Cleric squads, that'll end up working out pretty well too, but we don't have any of those right now. So we'll get them if we get them. Alright. I mean, they're doing stuff. If you're wondering why I didn't hide Magnus behind them, by the way, this just kind of spreads out their kind of surface area here. Just because the 2 Gryphons can very easily die, but if the attacks are spread out, his 1 heal can maybe potentially keep everything going a little bit better. Maybe. It's a very maybe type situation. Stab, stab. Actually, now that I think about it, what you were saying about the fairies, does that also apply in training? Can they evolve in training? Because if we had, like, 3 fairies, a Hawkman, and a Gryphon, well, it would have to be 2 fairies, a Hawkman, and a Gryphon. Theoretically, their offense sucks so hard that they would be able to evolve quite a bit early, no? Because they basically get infinite attacks, so... If anybody knows, please feel free to let me know. And they're guarding, and they're attacking, and this is taking a bit of a minute, but they'll eventually get there. Congratulations, Commander! You can beat a kindergarten class! Woohoo! It's something! It's technically not nothing. Alright, and there they go. What do they get for that? 1 level. Fantastic. I mean, we might as well see how many of those we can go for here. What about you? 170, okay. Do you believe strength is everything? I mean, it's one of very few stats that we've got to work with here, so... Actually, you know what? in terms of training, poison might actually be really good for training. Because they're just going to keep getting lower and lower levels. And in fact, it's kind of interesting. Like, specifically in training scenarios, like for that Pendra or whatever, the poison might actually be really handy. So you can't evolve in training, but can get in a random encounter during an investigation to evolve 100% if meeting the stat requirements. Okay, so it's going to be like 2 stats up. It's not going to be worth it. Alright, so I'm assuming, unlike level down, poison probably doesn't stack, right? Because I'm seeing absolutely no effect from the poison here. Like, they suck just as hard as before. Like, the gremlin level down seemed to keep stacking, I remember that much, but, like, this poison is absolute doo-doo. It seems to do next to nothing, and yes, that will mean that if I can find any poison witches, they are 100% getting employed in the squad, because the worse we can make this team, the more amusing this run gets, you know? Alright. Alright, more training. Who else can we train? Mr. Bean! Oh dear, you're even below 150? I don't think I've ever even seen that. How bad are you? Yeah, when the archer that's about to shoot you is flirting with you, that's probably a bad sign. Especially when they can't even bother getting in the back row. That they have intentionally nerfed their entire squad, and there's still a pretty reasonable chance you're losing this. See, sleep might be better. I mean, sleep is definitely better, no question about that. Sleep or paralysis. I'm just a little bit shocked that somebody took that version of poison and was like, yeah, this is what's making it to release. Does anybody know of any other functions for poison? Like, does it reduce accuracy? Does it do anything other than, like, serve as a level down that can't stack? Because, that's shitty. That's not very useful. Which, again, just to reiterate, 100% going to be using it for that reason, but, like, surely it has to do something, right? See, large character units train very cheap compared to standard units. Okay, well, that gives us something. I'm assuming it's due to party sizes or some such. Is that why they ended up costing so dang much for the multiplayer when they got to PSP? It's like if you tried to deploy any beast units in multiplayer, they would just be just insanely expensive compared with everybody else, even though they had far less value. Also, we can kind of just do one of these things. I figure since we're not really using equipment and we can't really train anybody, or we can't do anything else, we might as well just burn through all our funds in between fights to go do something like this. To kind of give us at least some kind of advantage here, because we can't really tweak equipment that much, and most of our good equipment seems like it's going to be coming from end-of-fight scenarios anyway. Also, probably wouldn't hurt to actually save this thing, huh? Alright. See about getting Leia's squad some training. See, fights are usually max 3 rounds and typically target different units, so you don't need to stack. I mean, yeah, but that's what I mean, though. Like, poison in general doesn't seem to, well, be useful by any metric. See, poison, no, it's the French le poisson, meaning fish. It makes the enemy's unit smell like fish. I'd buy it. That honestly seems like an improvement over its current function. But yeah, if I'm missing something, please feel free to let me know. Like, I'm thinking, while we're so far out of the range of being able to afford the Apocrypha spellbooks or anything like that, I forget what they're actually called in this game. I'm just going to call them Apocrypha spellbooks for convenience. I just noticed she doesn't have any units. Nice. Okay, so don't send the one unit with nobody in their team. Good to know. There we are. don't really get, again, like, who looked at poison and was like, yeah, this is fine. One of our iconic units. This is exactly what we need. Let's see, I'm pretty sure First Pendra is your next mission location. Draconite Spellbooks, there we go. Yeah, I just remember it being one of the towns. That's all I remember about that part. So if we can get through training over here, good. I remember it was something like you have to win 5 fights in a row or some such, and then the last one's a boss fight. Which, as far as I see it, Magnus is probably the only one with any hope of winning that. But I forget if they have to be at any particular level or whatever. But yeah, the actual looking for the Gryphons part of it gave us such a high in-game counter that there's no way in hell we'd be able to get up enough money to be able to afford one of those Draconite spellbooks. So that option's straight out the window. Oh, you want the Draconic Magics? We can't. It's based off of how fast you can get to the store, which in our case is extraordinarily not fast. Alright, so we'll go through here. That dude's like, check out my gigantic knife with its gigantic handle. This thing is 90% metal handle thingy. Alright. Alright. Once they're around level 12, the Gryphs are generally ready to go Pinnacus. Gotcha. Poison would have been more interesting if they prevented healing or something. Yeah, I was thinking, like, what if it secretly lowers accuracy or something? Just, you know. Skip through this cutscene. Long story short, Magnus is upset that his dad did a dumb. Alright. There's a castle Dunkeld. Here to go dunk on everybody. Also, gonna remember to actually save it. Alright. So this is the one where Yumel basically wins the map by himself. Yeah, chatter, chatter, chatter. Tell me who you really are. How are you related? I don't know. We're gonna answer you with dots, like a 4th time after this, and then you're gonna go become a boss, and that's interesting. Until then, piss off and stop messing with the furniture. Let's see, you have to win 5, and Magnus is the only one who gets the boss fight. Okay, so we have to use him anyway. Gotcha, gotcha. So, I mean, his setup should be kind of okay for that right now, then. So wait, what do you mean how fast you can get to the town? I mean, like, the in-game timer apparently ticks up the price. Also, emulation glitch on the right. You see Magnus just, like, marching his way through, or against an invisible wall to the right. See, even lowering defense would have made it useful against golems or cataphracts. Something. See, first Draconite Spellbook's price is based on how many in-game days have passed. Oh. Oh yeah, we're even more screwed then, because we've spent, like, a year and a half... Or no, it was like a month. Chasing after those frickin' things. Alright, so Yumel should be able to handle any and all fights by himself. What we want to be doing is defending some towns. So you go here, you go ahead and defend this town. By the way, Vale, just so you know, the current objective for this run is basically just be a complete and utter just like douche nozzle in dialogue, but then try to do as good as possible in the in-game maps, and just see what the results are going to be. Alright. Cheyenne, your job is apparently to go there. Dio is going to assist with this, and we're going to leave Magnus at whatever his current level is. Try not to level him up any further. Strictly in the interest of hopefully, you know, maybe getting him that Pendra. Again, I don't know how we're even going to be able to use the Pendras, but we'll get there when we get there. Alright, Jill's going to be holding up defense. Actually, no. Jill, you need to go get our new commander. Actually, June. June's going to be the one going and getting our commander here. Why am I immediately going against the instructions I just gave myself? Because don't question me. That's why. So you can only get the one in Melfi, though? What's the deal with the one in Melfi? Like, how much do we need, do you know? Let's see, did you choose to fight in the beginning event? Yeah. I figured it's appropriate, considering that we're doing an all-birds run. Clearly, when it comes to birds, their first option is violence every time, so... Seems appropriate, no? I mean, I mean, if they're looking at a case where everybody's being oppressed and, you know, he's supposed to be a bird, then clearly their first thought is, screw it, they're below us. So, yeah. It seems appropriate. Birds are all about that chaos. Seems fitting. Let's see, I think the pre-Melfi one is half price starting and it counts up. Like capturing neutral critters, always too expensive for me. Let's see, is it like 30k? I mean, we might be able to afford it, maybe? Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Like, right now, we're just a couple fights in, we're already up to 5k, and we haven't sold any equipment. I'm not sure if you can hear the dogs freaking out in the background, but apparently the mail was just delivered, so that's fun. Alright. Yeah, if they don't stop in a moment, I'm gonna have to go deal with that. I'll be at... Dang it. Give me just a moment. Alrighty, and back. Sorry about that. Yeah, it turns out dogs would make a fantastic security system if you're exclusively worried about, like, mailmen, soccer balls from the kids, and people getting up to go to the bathroom. If those are the only threats in your life, fantastic. Can't do any better. Anyway, so let's see. What did I miss here? See, sorry if you hear the cats in the background of me typing. She found her penguin toy and is trying to throw it across the room, then attack it. Very oddly specific if you can hear that. Alright. Also, hi there, Maniac Artist. Apparently this is a party place. I mean, everyone is dancing a little bit, to be fair. Alright, Melfi is 50k. Sweet Jesus. Anyway, it's a Draconite spellbook. How much could it cost? $5? 50k sounds like it's a lot, but then it's only about 500 Hot Topics. Jeez, though. Yeah, 50k is gonna be, okay, how many maps away is Melfi? If we're going to assume the math holds up, and it's like 2 to 5k per map, and we basically can get away without spending it for the most part, because if we go exclusively for decapitations, and we go for, just maybe minimal training in the meantime, between gear sales and between everything else, we might be able to pull that off, and it might give us a lot more options down the road. Because as it stands, I am seriously worried about how these units are performing. Alright, actually, for the time being, we probably... Yeah, actually, June's fine. I was going to say we need to have him take a little bit of a rest, but he actually should be pretty well here. So, training Pendras, 1 Malaysia, 2 Mount, 3 Glues Hills. Bane is Sothan, Jerem bring Hellhound. Yeah, that one I got an accident my first time. Do Quest and Muji? See, I'm not necessarily worried about any specific ones, but if we can get at least a couple that gives us something, I don't expect that we'll be able to do very much with that, but it's just one more thing to consider, We haven't seen anything that's actually directly weak to one-shot yet, so it feels like pretty much any tile is going to be good enough. In which case, we probably should be putting them... I would think the kind of optimal party layout here is putting one Gryphon up front, one off to the side, and then the commander between the two. Just gives us the best odds of that commander surviving, because we can't exactly replace them after we get them, so... Also... why don't you go ahead and just move exactly to where you are right now. It's going to stay where you are right there. Camp a little bit, because I want to try to keep that neutral place protected as much as possible. Let's see, is it OB64 the game that ruined your attempts at a Gryphon run? I'm expecting to run to boil down to hit and tame with heal leaves. No. The OB64 was the one where the Iron Man run of Fairy Only died. It was like, literally got through the entire rest of the series and then was just staring out a window, and that one frickin' Sphinx hiding in a random, stable during the castle siege just came out and just, like, one-shot Magnus. It's like, well, I mean, it wasn't directly a one-shot, but it was enough to the point that it was over the course of one encounter, and I just wasn't paying attention, and was like, well, I guess that just sort of happened. Other than that, it would have been Fairy Only Deathless for the entire series. It was a very, very slow run. Let's see, Melfi opens Scene 8, then you lose it for 3 or 4 missions, and then it's open again. Or maybe it was Gunther I lost, and not the Crossroads, I can't remember. Okay, in 8 missions, that might be a tall order, though that being said, we, again, can sell most of our equipment, so that's a thing, too. Actually, now that I think about it, okay, so zombies would have to, so zombies come with different equipment, right? That they're essentially just given that equipment when they die, their old equipment is transferred over. The whole, like, looping infinite inventory glitch that you can do. Technically speaking, I wonder if that only exists because they're the only unit that I can think of that's actually forced to have that stuff. Like, you technically can't promote somebody unless you've got the equipment to promote them into a basic soldier, so... theoretically, that would probably be the only time the inventory loops. That information is absolutely useless, but just a weird thought that came to mind. uh, also, alright, Leia, you take a nap. You might have a shot against this guy, but you also just as easily might not. Okay, also we should probably be sending some people out somewhere. Alright, y'all march on the next stronghold. Whistler. Just in case this guy gets ideas, why don't you go ahead and go this way? And then Cheyenne's going to stay on defense for the time being. Yumo probably would be able to handle defense, but we're just going to, like, bound everybody forward here. And Magnus's whole, like, kill the leader, or hopefully kill the leader, and then just sit here healing approach seems to be working reasonably well. Say, being petrified is a good defense against petrification. This is true! Also, your units can't die if they're dead, so, I mean, if you think about it, that one squad is doing excellently. Let's see. You're gonna have to figure out how to deal with Cockatrices using Gryphons. I mean, that's partially why I want to go get Troy here. Obviously, we need a new commander, but, like, we're gonna recruit whatever commanders we can get. Our standards have never been lower. It's like a Gryphon version of a certain country that's kind of a gigantic clown show right now across the sea. But, anyway. Yeah, standards have never been lower, but I'm thinking that shield of his might be one way to handle it. That being said, we still might lose 2 Gryphons for every encounter with a Cockatrice. Gotta love those numbers. So we'll figure that out. And/or we just avoid them entirely. I mean, unless they've got some kind of stun-locking move, like if we find a witch or something that we can transform into something that paralyzes, and then we can take out everything except for the Cockatrice, and then stun-lock the Cockatrice, maybe? That could be one way to handle it. Okay, in March of the Black Queen, there's like a spell shield effect. Does anybody know if that effect still exists to any degree? Because as far as I'm aware, it's just equipping that one shield that gives you protection from petrification, as well as, I want to say, one of the helmets or something. See, they won't turn into zombies unless you have the cloth to make them... Oh! Really? No kidding. Hi there, Troy! We can skip your cutscene. You need no interview. You are always welcome. Alright. And we already have his Gryphon squad ready to go. So we'll get them deployed in this next round here. This dude needs to frickin' run at the earliest possible opportunity, though. Thankfully, his fireball takes a little bit of a minute to fire off. Don't die. Okay, Slumber Mist is doable. They actually might survive this. Yeah, there we go. Run. How he's giving the order to run while he's asleep, I don't know, but just roll with it. See, note that if you don't get Troy to join you, you don't get the Hallowed Shield, and every Cockatrice will get 100 times harder. Oh, I know. I mean, Troy's getting recruited whether he wants to or not. That was never an option. Dude's joining us. Where did that wizard guy go? Alright, you. Actually, you can probably just camp. Alright, so you camp for the moment. Let's see, they're leaderless. Those guys are marching. I don't think they'll leave the town totally undefended. You rest. How's your squad doing? Kind of wish you could see their health bars right here. Okay, so they're in pretty rough shape. It probably isn't worth deploying 2 different squads to go to handle this right now, but anyway. Actually, can probably send Anita to go hunt him down. Actually, break camp. Go ahead and chase this guy. That gives us something to work with. Sorry about that. Let's get back to it here. So... Oh yeah, right, Troy has a squad now, or he's getting a squad now. So, let's go ahead and create one. So let's go form a unit. Congratulations, Commander Troy. probably put you off-center. Give you one Gryph over here. Give you one Gryph behind here. And that should be perfect. And again, going for maximum surface area here, so that hopefully they can, you know, not get singled out as much as possible, because their low numbers are definitely a problem. Alright. And in that case, let's have you immediately deploy to taking here. I don't think that'll work. Actually, wait. Oh, that Berserker's our Berserker. Okay, good. I was a little bit worried there for a second. Shouldn't have to retreat at the very least. So it's funny how that's currently the high bar that everybody else has to try and aspire to. Like the amazing ace squad of Magnus over here, who technically doesn't have to run away from every encounter. Truly, they're the unbeatable combo over here. Ah, crap. At least they recovered. Really? Y'all are gonna get a frickin' crit every time there's an opportunity to ambush somebody. Every time. What an asshole. Okay. That's gonna cost us a little bit of money. Leia, congratulations. You have a all-expense-paid, kind of, you're gonna have to pay for the revival, but mostly free vacation to the other end of the frickin' world. You better not take that town on accident, by the way. Alright. See, Hollow Shield would be nice for the Sony chickens, yeah, but it only protects one guy, unfortunately. See, Cockatrices come in 2s, and at least 2 levels, send them at your HQ. Celestial Veil grants immunity to petrification in the last third of the game. Okay, we're gonna have to get one of them. You can always get a fast-flying squad and attack Cockatrices from whatever position they aren't in the back. Eventually, sure. See, skeptical on the max surface area argument because I think the enemy likes to focus fire, and that makes it possible with the targeting. But we'll see how well it goes. Might be wrong. If your units have 3 corners, you can prevent focus on any one unit. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of figuring if the best theoretical squad would essentially be Commander in the corner, and then the Gryphons on the 2 opposite corners, you know, hopefully doing something. But theoretically. Alright, what is the condition of this man's squad? Well enough. Let's go ahead and change their formation around a little bit, so that he's a little bit more defensible. It's like I was saying, theoretically, it would be like this guy here, and then this one over here. Theoretically, this should be the best for pretty much every situation, considering that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of difference when it comes to these squads here, in terms of their offensive potential. But then again, I have no idea. This is based off very little information. Magnus' squad possibly being the exception because they have a means to heal. And I have no idea why seeing these dudes jumping up and down like little happy chicks here kind of makes me want to go find some trail mix, but anyway. Strange mental combinations aside, let's carry on. Also, wait a second. Are you the squad that was supposed to be carrying on here for a while? Yes. So, why are you back here? I guess actually what we should be doing is having you go take this town. You should be able to use that time to go bound into this town, and then get your people back up. Then once we get to the very end, we just let Yumel handle the boss fight, and we're good to go. Let's see, must have missed it. Why no healing items? Because we are currently running low to no budget, and I want to acquire elemental nukes. So we might have options down the road. We'll see. For the time being, like, we're running things pretty lean. The idea is just to kind of see what we can get away with, you know? Alright, so how much y'all want to bet that that archer ends up... Okay. I was gonna say that the archer ends up going and getting that magic crit all of a sudden. Anyway, you are gonna go take this town, though. Or at least you're gonna go hang out in it. Alright, you attach to this archer over here. This berserker needs to also attach to this archer so that they're not going and sneaking up on our town. Leia's going for repairs. June is just going to go hold this town by himself. Boring story, Gryphon sleepy, fair enough. See, I think he just forgot to buy healing items. I don't think that's a rule. Yeah, no, the healing is perfectly well allowed. I do have some healing items, and I think a couple of the squads are carrying them. I'm just not using them yet. For the time being, there's no sense in wasting money when we can just retreat everybody. I mean, we're definitely losing some money on some of those crits and whatnot. But for the time being, we're better off just playing it like this, saving our money on our items, and then just like reviving units as they come along. Later on, we'll definitely need healing items. It's just until we get a hold of certain items and whatnot, I'm expecting to run pretty lean here. Alright, and then as soon as that archer's taken care of, we're gonna send Troy in to go attack that warlock. Just because you know that they're gonna find some way to pinch through all of those units and just take that town by surprise. You just know. They always find a way to do that. See, heal leaves are like 10, by the way, way undervalued. I feel like that was added to help make the game easier for new players. I mean, yeah, they're definitely very cheap. I was meaning more like the party-wide heals. I mean, regular heal leaves, yeah, we definitely should be using more of those. For the time being, though, we're basically pinching every penny, because apparently we need to get 50 grand, so yeah. You take a nap. Next guy's going to take over. Dio, you're nice and rested. Why don't you go ahead and assist on this hunt? Yuma's going to be moving on pretty soon here, so we can go ahead and move Troy forward. The wave is already here. I'm assuming he'll be able to finish off this one, because they're about to go take a nap, and it's just a bunch of soldiers and a ferry. Funnily enough, the same exact kind of formation that we ended up losing to recently. Okay. This one is a shop, not a place to revive people. Right, that's why she was over there. Let it never be said that I'm not a dumbass. Anyway, let's go ahead and move her back to the town that she was meant to be in the first place. It is what it is. We might be able to capitalize on those units up there, but they're not harming anything for the time being. And there's really not much of an objective to push for, because Yumel's definitely just going to be able to carve through the map by himself. And yeah, we're going to hopefully get to see Vice becoming a boss after this. Actually, does anybody know or not Vice, if Dio leaves, does anybody know if he takes the Gryphons with him? Like, does he try to take the units with him, or do they just get unformed and put back in the party? Because if he leaves at this point, I'd like to take those off his party. Exactly, Sep. Caw indeed. It's a Poison Mist, a spell you'll only see before you can buy any other spellbook to make your Earth Witch not suck. Exactly. I want to see if we can make them at least somewhat functional. I mean, though, that being said, if I had the option to only use commanders that used poison all the time, totally would. In fact, somebody needs to go make that mod of just, like, everything is poison. Every attack just becomes poison on the player side. How do you win? See, I don't think he steals the Gryphon, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, I guess we're about to science that out, because, I want to see him become a boss. I've never seen that outcome, so, you know, we're doing it. Not to mention Dio is just kind of a prick, so... Let's see, wow, that army was like, what if we fed sleeping children to Gryphons? Is this strategy or madness? There's only one way to find out. Unfortunately, their sacrifices aren't being, or I guess more so, their offerings aren't being accepted terribly well. It's not actually helping at all. The volcano is still pissed off. The volcano that is Troy. Donk, donk, donk. I really hope whenever they do finally remake this, they better remake this, but I hope if and when they do finally remake this game, that they turn the soldiers into, you know, actual soldiers, not like what looks like toddlers with pointy sticks, because it's seriously messed up. I know they did it for space limitation reasons, but dude. It's why whenever you see basic soldiers showing up in plot events and whatnot, they look like a bigger version with a pointier helmet, but like, still. See, if you're going all the way, you talked about being the worst you can be, you will lose Dio. I know. I know we're gonna lose Dio, that's the point. I was saying that from the beginning, like, that dude's gotta go. Alright, you go ahead and take Bean's position here. Bean, go ahead and support the front line this way. Them two... Alright, Anita here needs to break camp and start heading this direction. That town is a little bit of a trap. Whistler's gonna take a nap for the time being, so that hopefully he can respond to whatever that archer decides to do. Let's see, we're gonna have one of our Gryph squads coming back to life as soon as that Valkyrie goes back to the town that had the revives to begin with. I love how these guys have basically been doing the battle of the century here of, like, cleric plus random unit, and Magnus here with his 2 Gryphons can barely ever keep up with this. Hello there, G-Money. How's it going? See, basic soldiers also squawk when you kill them, which adds to the overall horrific effect. Yeah. It's just a weird time. I'm not really sure what they were thinking with that one. Also, that lady is about to be very tired and take a nap, so at that point, I guess we'll just go attack them finally. What if they are children? I mean, then we're about as monstrous as we're expecting to be on a normal day in this universe. So, yeah. The archer was a berserker the whole time! How dare you lie to us? Alright, well, at least they got levels. There's that. Now, does anybody remember if Dio gets, like, replaced as far as unique classes go in any direct way? Or if you're just plain losing him and that's just it? I mean, it doesn't change anything decision-wise, I'm just curious if he's offered a replacement. Alright, Berserker, you go assist in taking this town. Troy's bringing up the rear. They're surrounding us, yet they're the ones sweating. That's probably a good sign. Speed this up, because this compelling gameplay is currently very repetitive for that squad. Really, Leia? Really? I'm sorry, I gotta take a nap. I'm like 3 steps out of my hotel room, just like passes out drunk in front of the door. See, now he's just gone. Your reward for losing him is not having Dio around. Isn't that enough? Understandable. That makes sense. It is very funny how this basically... This kind of run just basically has almost no strategy outside of just send more units to one location or another. Alright. And they're gonna do the same fight again! And this is the part where people leave angry comments that are unfamiliar with this game. Like, why are you doing the same fight over and over? Because that's how this game works. You set it on fast forward, and then you watch as they kill the thing that's stuck against the river. It's a massacre in slow-mo. Alright. Alright, you go ahead and go to Stronghold. Yumel's already, like, getting ready to go march on everything here. Cheyenne. I can never read Cheyenne without hearing Cheyenne Stay from New Vegas. Alright. Now, this is where our money-saving efforts go to waste, where we spent 39 heal leaves worth of healing to go get this one unit back. Again, don't question my math. This is just how we're doing it. They're done. Alright, and then get them back. And then, hopefully, this Valkyrie can stop dying all the time. Stop being a sucky commander, random Valkyrie. Alright. At the same time, you just go and take a nap. Okay. I think we're safe. from random HQ ambushes at this point, so we can probably go send our back row Valk up front. So I do like that the game designers were like, if you hate him enough to get rid of him, you definitely want to have a chance to fight him in combat later. Exactly. You know what's funny, by the way? I need to send you... actually, wait, did I ever send you the video of, like, AC6 and how they handle that particular thing? There's this one rival character that, like, is basically a complete nobody that just, well, more or less dies immediately. Well, not even immediately. He just repeatedly gets humiliated over the course of most playthroughs, and then just end up hating you more and more with every new game cycle until finally, by the time you're in New Game Plus Plus, he actually hates you enough to take over a sentient supercomputer to go for an assassination attempt. It's such a good writing moment. Let's see, Kara the Unstoppable Boulder with strong legs is alive again? Yes. Exactly. He turned out to be slightly more stoppable than expected. See, aren't the weakest healing items super cheap? Yes. Don't question my logic. Moving on. Realistically, no. I just don't want to go through the menus to give everybody heal leaves. That's what it comes down to. There is that aspect of I want to use as little as possible, you know, to get through stuff, as always, but, like, I just really don't like navigating through menus in this game. I've been joking for years that the UI is a hellish nightmare in this situation. If they ever remake it, that's one of the first things they need to fix. It's like, please make the UI functional. Alright, there goes Yumel's friggin' death squad of Scythe Knights. Just ready to go golf club the absolute Christ out of anything in front of him. There we go. Come to think of it, what's the kind of overall, I guess, political effect of Yumel taking a town? Does it count as you taking a town, or no? Alright, Mr. Bean, also, just to be safe, let's go ahead and send you on forward. Let's go ahead and send Magnus on forward here as well. Let's see, Leia, how's your squad doing? Actually, you got sent to the wrong place, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Alright. Awesome! I'm doing great at this. You go ahead and go this way, so that you can go defend that town. Jill, you go ahead and slot over this way. Leia, you go ahead and head over that way. In a moment, once we know that Magnus can go take out that cleric. That one's just kind of out and in the wild right now, so you go ahead and chase them down. Troy, if you could just do me a favor and chase this dude down too, that'd be wonderful. Alright, Whistler took the town. Good, good. Iguazu, exactly. Let's see, game designers were like, the player treating Yuma like Vice, how do we fix this? And now we have Diomedes. Like, no, Yuma and Magnus, stop trying to find an empty bed together and just, like, I don't know, chill out on that dialogue a little bit. This was definitely from that era where translation was, you know, from that time. Like, so much dialogue just gets completely misread the completely wrong way when they're trying to say something entirely different. Let's see. See, I honestly have no idea if I guess like him takes a town. We'll probably have to do some hex editing to find out, to see if the chaos frame changes. Yumel taking towns is negative chaos frame for each town. Well, we're doing great then. Whether we want chaos or not, we're creating it. I think the fact that I've almost exclusively done this game on stupid challenge runs has really skewed my perspective on how impossible it is to get reputation. See, would you feel better or worse knowing that you were a Yumel? Or that you were saved by Yumel? True. Like, weird little kid with a friggin' spec ops squad that kind of looks like Mozart just showed up. I don't know what to make of this situation. started showing up and started talking about how he was going to turn people into limbs. Three hours later, the witch managed to catch up to the school children hanging out in the mountains. So I would like to see endgame tarot card system if they remade one like in Reborn. In which way? Are you talking about the chariot system, or are you talking about the tarot cards, or what are we talking about? Like, personally, I think that this just needs a bit more clarity on what the mechanics actually do, and a bit... Oh, they're doing the pinch! They're doing the pinch! This is the pinch I was talking about, by the way, where you essentially win a fight, but then they get sent in a weird direction because they don't have a valid direction behind them, and so they just get sent, like, towards the nearest town or something. And this is how you get squad that consist of, like, one guy with half a pinky toe worth of life left. They managed to go and take your HQ and give you a game over mid-fight. I always just call it the pinch, because they're always, like, getting pinched in some weird random direction that kind of feels like when you're trying to pick an eggshell out of your eggs in the morning, you know? Son of a dick, there it is! Okay, we do already have support headed towards that town. They should be able to get there in time. I think we're good. So even if he liberates it, no idea. See, I'd feel better, to be honest, until he becomes evil. Does he ever truly become evil, or is he just always incredibly naive? Like, between this guy and what's-his-face in the wheelchair, Doned from FFTA, who is more evil by the end? Let's see, liberation. If not, it's negative chaos for every Yumel takes over. Okay. Yumel gets a bad rap. I mean, he's more so naive, but, you know, fair enough. Like, dude's just not a very good leader. Like, it's definitely a case of, you know, he got there because his dad was in charge. Say, oh no, not Troop 314 on their wilderness hike. Won't someone think of the children? We're thinking of them as XP. Let's see, like Dio, he's like your boy almost no matter what. Oh, he's about to absolutely not be. Though, okay, he becomes your dude over time, but he's a complete liability, to be fair. How many pieces of furniture does he throw over in, like, the first hour of the game alone? Alright. So I love how Yumel just leaves his squad, puts his weapon away, like, yep, I'm gonna go talk to this Hellhound, guys, it's cool. He actually might lose some of his soldiers here. Interestingly enough, you cannot give them orders. Not that there's really much of a reason to, but... Yeah. Oh, the chariot system? Eh. I don't know. I'm still against the chariot system, like, full stop in any form, just because it makes you less likely to adapt and more likely to get frustrated. I know it depends on how people are using it, but, like, the vast majority of cases that I've seen, somebody will go attempt something, fail at it, and they'll be like, oh, I gotta re-roll my turn, what bullshit, this is the only way you're supposed to win, you know, because it gave you a tutorial pop-up for it, and then just, like, go back and spread the word to everybody of, like, oh, this is a game that can't be played without the reset function, it's some broken old thing, and it's just annoying to see. I know it's an oddly specific reason to be mad at that mechanic, but, like, it happens so often. And then that same player will completely never learn from their mistakes whatsoever. They're like, elemental system, what's that? Debuffs, what are those? What? No, I'm just supposed to charge forward and keep resetting my turns until I crit every round. It's the only way to do it. Named after one of the great heroes from the Iliad. Yeah, it's funny how absolutely everybody in the Iliad gets completely screwed over by the end. Especially, God, what's his face? Was it? I don't think it was Diomedes. It was, God, trying to remember those names always gives me a headache. Who's the guy that basically just gets... Not Odysseus. It's the other second in command that basically, like, I think he, like, loses his wife to his kid or something. It was something super weird. Let's see. His nickname is a Ronnie James Dio reference, yep. He's not Vice or Delita. I mean, he deleted his odds of ever being on this team on account of trying to kill us within seconds of starting the game. Dio, stand aside and take large steps. So you mean literally when Yumel becomes evil and possessed by his true soul? I mean, like, in their intent, I guess is the better way to put it. Not min-mount chariot system, I meant to go back to anchor points. Oh yeah, no, for that, 100%. It would absolutely benefit from this. I mean, I've been saying for a while that I wish that there was a mod to just completely take out the, like... So, yeah, I guess it is the same thing. So, technically, so the whole jumping between points thing is the world system. The jumping between your turns thing is a chariot. Which in no way gets confusing ever. I don't know what you're talking about. As we stack up more soldiers that we're totally going to use someday. Let's see, Yuma literally becomes evil. True. Let's see, Diomedes becomes a demigod after. I mean, if you can get him to his triple attacks, he's already... I mean, his endgame version is already hitting pretty hard. Diomedes, if I recall correctly, is one of the only guys who doesn't get hosed. It could be. There's so many weird versions of, like, what happens with the Iliad. I don't remember which ones are, like, canon, which ones aren't canon, which ones are just, like, early prequels, which ones are actual sequels. I don't know. See, Agamemnon, that's the guy. Gets killed by his wife and her lover. His son avenges him by killing his mom. That's what it was. It was Agamemnon. Why did you come back from graduating? Why? Well, I don't know. Probably on account of still being busy graduating and stuff. I wanted to see the world with my own eyes. I needed to know myself. I was tired of life in the central region. The environment I was in, nothing more, he says in his probably best Anakin impression. Why don't you come with me? As they said, making out on a mountain. Anyway, he wants him to feel his kingdom. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on there. To be fair, okay, this is another one of those cases. I always like to point these out, but, like, every time in one of these games where there's a moment when the plot could have been resolved right there by somebody changing their decision, if Magnus goes with Yumel right now, I'm just gonna, like, bet right then and there, like, basically plot's done. Like, that's all they need to do. Like, as soon as Yumel goes with Magnus here, like, or Magnus goes with Yumel, like, becomes his bodyguard or whatever else, as he goes there with his crazy Deathclaw hand over here, they just immediately, it probably prevents Yumel from running into those same problems later. If they make a remake, I hope that's one of the routes that you can just, like, do the same thing as, like, Armored Core 6, where you go back on New Game Plus Plus or whatever, and you're going back and, like, intercepting all of those moments when he would have been turned and, like, no. Hold up. Mr. Can't listen to their bitching over here? Okay, you're getting stabbed before the fight starts. Like, oh, why'd you kill that guy? Just trust me. Like, oh, hey, hold on, why did my fiancé turn up at the bottom of a ravine? So, sir, I'm just gonna have to ask you to trust me on this. Anyway. Destroying his hopes and dreams of getting busy with the gypsy. Alright, what else here? See, the Greek Diomedes? Yeah. Iliad EU was decanonized after Disney bought the rights. Wait, I wouldn't be shocked if they somehow got the rights to that. May I ask what you mean by that? He asked when asked to come with him. Yep. Would have liked to see a story option to go with him, or just staying with the army in general. Yeah, it's the same thing as with if they ever, like, properly remake the original Deus Ex. I want the option to just stay with UNATCO. Just like, I just want to see what happens if just, like, you continue down that road and just do your jobber whole situation without ever joining the rebellion. Just, like, going and squashing the rebellion and then just repeatedly filing HR reports. It was like, well, I have to file another official complaint because they're over here doing corrupt stuff again. They just went and killed the populace again. They just went and poisoned the masses again. I mean, I don't know how many of these reports I have to file. He just goes back angrily scrawling through his paperwork every time he comes back from, going and, like, firing rocket launchers at the homeless again. Deus Ex is such a weird game, but just that route would be bizarre. This is the basic soldier version that I was talking about, by the way, where they actually have the grown-up version that doesn't have to fit 3 people into one tile. This is what they're supposed to look like, but their tiny version looks like children. They got a message from Goda's list. Oh, shoot, I just noticed what time it is. Okay, we're going to skip through that real quick. And we're going to try one thing. So we're going to go ahead and save real quick. We're going to try to see if this is the town with that Pendra thing. I'm going to try to have it do several back-to-back fights, and then, yeah, we're going to see if this somehow works out. Alright. Oh, sweet Christ. Yeah, y'all are gonna die. What the hell is this? He's like showing up with a frickin' Dragoon right off the bat. Please don't break their butt. Oh, that's actually not bad at all. What? Actually got a shot here. I mean, if they keep powering down, that's gonna be a problem, but... Because I think power down stacks, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, it stacks. So... Anyways, on that whole plan... I don't think it's gonna work so good. And I'm pretty sure that Dragoon ends up taking all the attacks no matter what that we tell him to target. Alright, well they got hosed pretty good here. So, quick little dealy here. Your items... If we just use an item, raises an experience level. So, theoretically, if we just raise yours, right? Let's put you up to 8 for the moment. And then just have them try again. I mean, aside from being more expensive, what will that actually accomplish, I wonder? He has to win 5 in a row, right? Actually... If that was the fight, because I remember it being some fancy unit and a dragon, so if that was the fight, theoretically speaking, that then what? It stacks 4 previous wins, and then the 5th one is the one you go for, or something? You can't get the Pendra in Chapter 1? Oh wait, you can? So you don't think you can beat the boss at non-evolved? Probably not. I mean, that seems pretty well hopeless. See, Malaysia has really nasty training fights. I don't know if that was training as much as hazing, but alright. If it had been the Azidaki, it'd have a chance since it can't hurt Gryphons? Wait, really? Why not? So I didn't think it was possible to even fight the Pendra team in Chapter 1. Azidaki can hurt Gryphons if paired with a Quetzalcoatl. See, so this is a little thing, but how are... both how rare Dragoons are in OB64 lore. The one on your side on vacation who doesn't fight always bothers me. Like he's Dragooning a Union gig, he's always on vacation. Oh, in the Pendra fight, it's a Dragoon plus an Azzy. What's an Azzy? I forget which one an Azzy is and why on earth they wouldn't be able to hurt a Gryphon. What, are they an Earth Dragon or something? I'm just saying that these guys aren't very good. Oh my god, they're dying to a Gryphon! Or a freaking gremlin. Okay, I'm sorry, we can't end it on a more perfect note than that. I gotta get going. Oh, that's too good! Oh, I love it. Azidaki is the Earth Dragon, and Earthquake can't affect flying units. Okay, that makes sense. But if it's a Kets that paralyzes them, they can. So the Evolved Dragon decides the Pendra. So what was the Pendra of the firefight? Oh, so wait, that was the Pendra of firefight? Okay, gotcha. Before I go, you like tactical rugs? You ever I'm assuming that was supposed to be RPGs. Tactical rugs, you just like pull them out and make somebody fall over. You ever tried Vanguard Bandits? No. I think I always assumed that was a misspelling of Vandal Hearts or something, which, that one's pretty darn fun. If you take the Air Pendra at the start, you don't have to fight a Quetzal plus Dragoon battle. Yep, Gremlins are annoying as fudge in this, yes. Anyway, so, I gotta get going, though. So, thank y'all for stopping by. We'll do another one of these when possible. I can't think of a more perfect note to end this than our ace squad getting freaking dunked on by a gremlin. So, that'll be perfect. Y'all